Hi again, this is Kat of Catalyst Holistic Life Coaching. I am here to do your weekly guidance reading for this week of September 16th through the 22nd. So I just uploaded my video for the full moon in Pisces that we had last week. And this week we're starting to move and progress from that as we follow into next week. We will have a shift of the sun moving into Libra, and then we will also have another new moon. So there's a lot of shifting, a lot of forward movement happening. And so since we just came to, if you watched my moon video, it was a very emotionally releasing time, really time to actually dig in and let go of those things that are no longer serving us. So this week is focusing more on how are we going to let go, and how are we going to continue to harvest what has grown and what has not. So I'm changing my weekly guidance readings up a little bit. Instead of kind of doing it by day, I'm still doing 3-card readings, but I'm just going to kind of let it be a full message because I feel like the message may not come through on specific days. So however it might show up for you, sometimes it's all shown up for me later in the week. So I think it's better to make it not so time sensitive and fluid. So I'll be using my Wild Unknown Tarot deck, and then we will have an animal spirit guide as well. So we'll start with the first card that was pulled, was the Daughter of Cups. We had this previously in a reading. Daughters in this deck represent pages. So yeah, we're feeling a little bit upended. We're kind of in this really emotional kind of Gentile state. I can really see this card definitely representing a Pisces. It is the Cups suit, and it's the very innocent, kind of naive, very creative, just like kind of gentle soul. So we're kind of, feeling upended from all of this emotional stuff that may have come up. Pages can also be messengers. So maybe you were waiting for a message of devotion or some sort of emotional fulfillment that did not come through for you. And so you're just kind of feeling very out of balance with what's going on around you, and you're not sure how to kind of upright yourself. And that was definitely the energy in the previous reading, where we're going to kind of be feeling a little bit just in the depths, in the emotions, really digging deeper to find that part of ourselves that's really hidden below, instead of this kind of surface skin area. What is really lurking below, and what's really trying to come out after we burst through these emotions. So really starting to play around with that. And then moving into the next card, we have the Four of Pentacles in reverse. So as we move forward, we're starting to feel a little less restricted. All of this stuff is getting brought up, and we're not so confined. The four in the upright usually represents really disciplined, really self-protective. And so we're starting to just kind of be like, it's all out there. We're all just kind of letting things flow more easily, because now we're not so afraid to feel these things. We're not so afraid to look into these depths. And so things are starting to kind of move around us to our surprise. Things are starting to actually progress more as we start to let go and not hold so many restrictions and binds on all of these things. So you could be maybe there was something financially that you were really hoping for, like fulfillment through like maybe some sort of job, or relying on somebody to give you some sort of financial aid or something that may have fallen through. But now that we're kind of letting this all go, letting this all come to fruition, more opportunity may be swirling around you that you don't fully realize. And now that you have kind of accepted and moved forward with, okay, like this isn't working out the way that I wanted to, I'm just going to kind of go with it. And that opens up new doors that you may not have seen before. And it all just ties together. It all just flows once you actually let it flow instead of trying to tie it and bind it to yourself. All right, and then for the third card, we have the World in reverse. So the World is the last card in the major arcana. So usually in the upright, it represents the ending and completion of a cycle. Everything's moved through what it needs to, and it continues in the circle and it keeps going. So with it being in the reverse position, you may not quite be letting go to the extent of understanding what cycle needs to end. So maybe what this full moon really kind of illuminated for you was things that you didn't realize were starting to hold you back. And so I don't see this as this isn't going to come. It's regardless, it's gonna come to an end with your participation or without. It's just on the horizon. It's not quite there yet. It hasn't quite reached its full potential. So finding the ways to keep allowing that flowing movement, keep digging deeper and finding that true inner self that is at one with everything around you and is actually in cycle, because we're moving through all the different colors, all the different phases of life and death and rebirth. And so what is this ending for you? What needs to be fully released and let go of before we progress and move forward into this new cycle? And not being afraid to step into something new and unknown, because this could be something you've held on to your whole life. This could be something that's just been very comfortable for you for the last few years, and it's just not serving you anymore. You want to have this more free energy. You want to have all of your provisions coming to you in a more natural flowing state. And so what can we do to just finally come to this place of peace and resolution and end this cycle so that we can move on to the next ring of life and continue to move forward? All right, and then for our animal spirit guide for the week, we have vulture spirit in protection. So in her deck, when they're in reverse, she calls them protection. So they're working as a protection totem. And it definitely suits with this. The vulture represents nothing is wasted, because vultures are scavengers. They pick everything clean. And so with it being in the protection mode, you are really kind of reflecting on what you may have lost, or what you think you may have lost. You think it's a loss, but really it's just kind of this new opening to this new opportunity, and still ending a cycle. That doesn't mean that things aren't going to continue. And we need to not focus so much on how we failed, and maybe this was a huge disappointment in like thinking it was a waste of time. If this was maybe a romantic relationship, nothing about it was wasted. You learned things, you grew, and you got what you needed from it. And so it's time to pick clean the wounds and actually allow yourself to move into this new cycle, because it doesn't have to happen anymore. You don't have to suffer through it anymore. It wasn't a waste of time. It gave you what you needed to be able to move forward, and that in itself is its own blessing, whether it looks like it at first or not. And so taking yourself out of that mindset of you've either lost time or you'll never be whole again or you didn't succeed. This wasn't about succeeding. This was about learning what you needed to and becoming more in tune with that deeper aspect of yourself, because what was going to make you dig really deep and see the bright, beautiful, colorful person that you are beneath? Nothing will really pick you down to the bone more than the vulture spirit. So really calling on that totem to just remind you of that mantra where nothing is wasted. This wasn't a waste. I am not a waste. I didn't just waste all of my time. I put my time and effort into what I thought mattered, and I got something out of it. So just look for the message of what was it that I got out of it, and what do I need to learn from it? What lesson is there to be learned, and how can I continue to grow from here? Because it's not the end. It's not the end yet. When it comes to the end, it's a new beginning. So a lot of heavy stuff this week. I feel it really heavily. I think we all feel it on a certain level. So however that resonated with you, please feel free to share with me. I love to hear your stories, or even just private message me if you don't want to share that as well. If that didn't quite resonate with you, if you want a more personal reading, I do weekly, monthly, full cross spreads, whatever you want to read for yourself. So reach out to me however that suits you. I will be sharing this, and no new announcements really. So thank you so much, and I hope you enjoy your week, and big hugs for all of you guys who are going through a lot of struggle right now. Like, you're not alone in that. So thank you so much, and we will see you next time. Bye.